So I'm at the baseball field here. I want to tell you a story. So this was really impactful to me. I hope it is to you too, and it's got a great message at the end. So when I was a young boy, I was in Little League, and my next door neighbor Mark, very dear friend of mine, we were in it together. But as it worked out, we played on different teams, and about every fourth or fifth week, we would play against each other. And he was a pitcher, and I was an outfielder. And some weeks when we played, he was a better pitcher than I was a batter, and some weeks I was a better batter than he was a pitcher. Right, just worked out that way. So I'm real big about making sure that we spend time with our families because of a little bit of a painful lesson is my father never came to a game. So my father loved me and he was a great man, but he worked all the time. Right? He worked all the time, never came to a game. One Saturday morning, I'm getting ready to go out to the ball field. We're scheduled to play and going to be playing against my neighbor, Mark. And my brother Tommy came up to me as I was getting ready and said, "Hey, Dad's coming to the game today. First time ever, right? Because normally he worked on Saturdays, 7 days a week." And I said, "Oh, how exciting, right?" And so on that day, instead of riding my little bicycle to the ball field, we jumped in Dad's car, and me and Dad and one of my brothers, Tommy, and rode up to the ball field. And on that day, uh, Mark was a better pitcher than I was a batter, and he struck me out the two times that I came up. Honestly, didn't think anything about it. So we get in the car after the game. We drive back home. Dad goes inside, and my brother and I were, just playing in the yard a little bit. And my brother said something, not meaning to hurt me, because he would never say anything to hurt me, but he said, "Dad didn't know you couldn't hit a ball." Wow. For whatever reason, you think a spear just went through my heart when he said that. Like it was just devastating to me. And I know this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but for the next 40 years, I didn't never touch a baseball, never touch a baseball bat. And when I say never touch, I mean literally, which took quite a bit of cleverness because like in junior high and high school, what do you do during baseball season? Well, you play baseball. And so I found out how to get in just enough trouble that I'd get sent to the principal's office for that, for the next period, which would be baseball, gym class, that I get in just enough trouble that I get sent to the office or get put in a, one period detention or something like that. So that I'd miss PE the day that we're playing baseball, or I would change my schedule at the beginning of the year so that PE was either my first class or my last class of the day, so that I would either miss the bus, I'd walk to school, I'd have a flat tire on my bicycle, or I learned how to sign my mother's name. I got to get out of school early. And for PE, I guess nobody really cared. So anyway, I literally went all through school never playing baseball during PE season. I had never shared this story, and I as when I had my own children, I'd play frisbee with my son. I'd play football with him. We'd play tennis or badminton. Never played baseball. Never played baseball because I just had this scar. I had never. It was kind of like my dirty little secret. I'd never shared it with anybody, including the lovely Mrs. White. And then one day I was talking to a dear friend of mine, my age, and I shared with him this story. And he was just real quiet. He said, "Carl, I don't think there's any accidents in life. You're not going to believe this, but softball season is starting for the church league, and I think it's time for us to play some ball." And I was like, "No, man, I'm totally cool, right? I'm totally cool." He said, "I know you're totally cool, but I love you, and I think it's time we play some ball. Come on, man, just trust me on this, and let's go play some ball." Okay, I lied. He said, "All right, here's what it is. So we start in 2 weeks. Practice starts this coming Wednesday." He says, "Perfect timing, Carl. Practice starts this coming Wednesday. We're going to practice this Wednesday, the next Wednesday, and the first game is the following Saturday." I said, "Perfect. I'll be there." I lied. So Wednesday night came, time to go to practice. I didn't go, and my buddy didn't call me. Safe at home, right? I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, this was just an ultimate fear. Next Wednesday comes up. I'm watching my phone. Not going to answer if he calls, right? He didn't call. I didn't go to practice. I'm good, right? Wasn't thinking anything about it. The following Saturday, or the following Friday evening, I get a phone call. It's my buddy. I didn't think anything of it. I picked it up because we talked all the time. I picked it up and he said, "Hey man, our first game's tomorrow. You coming?" Oh crap! Sure, I lied. I'll be there in the morning. He said, "I know you will because I'm going to come pick you up." Oh dear God! So, so that night I spent, um, man. So that night I spent on the internet looking where's the last place the ball gets hit and looking up some of the rules. So I found out the place the ball gets hit the least is right field. So I thought, all right, I'll play right field. And I looked up and they have this thing called the mercy rule. So the mercy rule is if the other team gets ahead by 10 points, they call the game, right? So it's called the mercy rule. So I thought, all right, I'm praying that the other team will all have Babe Ruth come up and they'll all smack it over the fence. They'll be ahead by 10 points in the first inning, and the game will be called for the mercy rule. So I looked at all these things. I literally didn't sleep that night because I was just petrified about this. So the next morning, my buddy comes to pick me up, and I get in his car. We literally didn't say a word. I think he knew in his wisdom what kind of a moment this was for me. And so as we're driving to the ball field, I literally started praying, God, please let us have a car accident. I literally did that. Not that we're hurt, but just enough so we can't make it to the game. And God answered that prayer with a no, right? So we show up at the ball field. So we show up at the ball field, and I'm just, man, I'm just a mess. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm just an absolute wreck. And a couple people came up to bat, and it was my turn. I thought, oh, dear God. So I literally hadn't touched a baseball or a baseball bat in 45 years. And so I grabbed that baseball bat. I am so nervous. I think I'm about to pass out. And I'm trying to calm myself down. So I'm trying to think of like little warm and fuzzy pictures. And I get this mental image as I'm walking up to the plate, and just almost a panic attack. I get this visual image of Babe Ruth. And we all have seen that famous picture, Babe Ruth. He's walking up to home plate. What does he do? He points to left field like he's going to knock it over the fence. So, so as I'm walking up to the plate, I felt my arm going up, and I'm pointing to the left field fence, and I'm sitting there going, "What are you doing? This is bad enough. Put your arm down, right?" And so I walked up to the plate. I put my arm down, and they'd never seen me play before. So the pitcher did what any pitcher would do. He turned around and looked at his outfielders, back, back. Like this guy's going to knock it over the fence, right? And I'm sitting there going, oh, dear God, if he only knew. Now, one thing you have to understand about church league softball, the other team, they hope you hit it, right? I mean, it's very non-competitive. It's just for fun. And they've got this oversized softball the size of a cantaloupe, and they just lob it so it just barely goes over the plate. Like it's the easiest thing ever. But for me, it's like I'm getting ready to have, Sandy Koufax is getting me ready to throw a 120 mile an hour fastball across. So I'm just a mess. So they all get back, and I walk up plate. I made a decision right then. I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I tell you what's not going to happen. That when he pitches that first pitch, I'm going to swing, and I'm going to swing at the next two if necessary. Because what's not going to happen is I'm not going to strike out without ever taking a swing. And so I'm going to swing. I don't care if he hits the lights or if he rolls it on the ground, I'm swinging. So I'm sitting there about to pee in my pants. Hope it's okay to say that. Wearing my black pants, right, so nobody could tell. And when he starts to pitch that ball, I see the ball taking its arc. And when it was about halfway to me, I literally closed my eyes. I don't know why, but I did. And when it felt right, I swung that bat with every fiber of my being, put everything into it. And they say that on a baseball bat, there's this sweet spot that if you hit the ball just at the right place on the bat, just right, like it'll sail forever, right? And when I closed my eyes and I swung that thing with everything I had, I felt it. I hit the sweet spot. I knew it. And I opened my eyes and I see the ball sail just over the pitcher and then hit the ground. Right? That's all I had. Where normally second base would have easily caught it, but he was back, right? Everybody was back. And so I got on base. Now, nobody knew what had just happened here other than my buddy. And I looked over and see him, and he gives me a, thumbs up. And I'm like, oh, shucks, thumbs up to him. But inside I'm going, holy cow, this is like the most epic moment in my life, right? I just can't describe it. And so I ended up scoring, and then I came up to bat again a couple times later. I did the same thing. It worked pretty good the first time, so I pointed to the left field again as I'm coming up. You think they would have learned, right? But they didn't. They again, they again, back, back, back. And at this time, I kept my eyes open, and I hit that ball. Couldn't have hit it any better, any harder. Have everything I had. And again, it just went over right about to where shortstop, and then it came to a stop, which again, shortstop should have caught. But I guess he's a little bit slow because they were all still back again. At the end of the game, my teammates who didn't know what had just happened, other than my buddy, came up to me and said, "Carl, boy, that was great. You know just where to hit the ball to get on base." And what they didn't know, that's all I had. Like I didn't have anything else. The reason I'm telling you this, truly a very painful story for me, which by the way, I played baseball that season. Maria and I played it for the next season, and I played it for a couple more years. So just totally cured that. The reason I'm telling this somewhat embarrassing, definitely painful story is to tell you that in your mortgage business and in life in general, what I want you to do, point to the fence, right? Take a swing. That thing that you've been, if all the effort and cleverness that I spent trying to avoid that activity, if I'd have spent that same amount of time in a batter's box, I probably could have played for the New York Yankees, right? Because I spent an incredible amount of energy avoiding the very thing that just wasn't that big of a deal. So in your life and in your mortgage business, point to the fence. Like take a swing at it. Don't sit there and go, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to call. I don't want to do any meetings. Who am I to teach the class and all that other crap that goes in our head? Pick up the pick up the ball, pick up the bat, and take a swing. I promise you, you'll get on base. I promise you, you'll score. And all that energy to avoid it is just, it's all the crap that goes on in our head that's just simply not true. So, so thanks for letting me share this story with you today. And yeah, take a swing. And I'd love to hear that thing you're going to take a swing at. And then I'd love to hear the results. So get back to me and I'd love to hear your story. So thanks for all the years and thanks for the wonderful memories. And thanks for picking up the bat and taking a swing.